Welcome back, ladies and gentlemen, and fight fans around the world. It's your boy P. Welsh here for another UFC picks, previews, and predictions. UFC Fight Night, Royval versus Taira. Do a quick little recap: 5-7 last week, 4 split decision losses. On the record, a couple bad picks. Court looked really good early on, and so that was one I kind of wish I had differently. But we're going to move on this week, starting in the flyweight division. Clayton Carpenter, 7-0 versus Lucas Roja, 17-1 in his amateur, making his UFC debut coming off the Contender Series. I think Roca's got about 10 KOs on the record. And Carpenter coming in 1-0 in the UFC. And I believe that always that little bit of an advantage here. We'll see that kind of a bit in this fight card. I think having that little bit of octagon experience is going to make the difference. I like Carpenter here. I think he presents a well-rounded opponent that Roca might not have been able to train for as well as he could, just getting into the UFC versus like as soon as you get a little bit of experience, maybe get a little bit more intense training, move to a different gym, something like that. Opportunities grow. So I think Carpenter has that a little bit of an advantage here over Roca. Roca's going to really have to try and, do a lot of damage to Carpenter, really get the timing down, and just be better at striking to win this fight. I think that's Roca's win condition is, not necessarily KO, but he's going to have to outstrike and be better at timing, be better at the combinations, the exchanges, work the body, the legs, and I think Carpenter's just going to come in there and try and swarm that. I think he's going to use high intensity, make it close, make Roca commit, and then shoot for a takedown. I think Carpenter really thinks he has an advantage there, and I think he'll have to is going to be on Roca to fight the takedown, get to the fence, work his way up. Listen, so I think he's got good opportunity. But again, it comes down to who's in your corner, what kind of things have you been preparing for, who have you has not had experience with not only in the octagon but in training. I think Carpenter has an edge here. I think Carpenter gets to win, and we're gonna pick him here to start off the night in the flyweight division. We're going to move on to the bantamweight division. Definitely similar matchup here, it kind of seems like. Dan Argueta, 9-2 in the UFC. Cody Handon, he's not 9-2 in the UFC. He does not have that many fights. A 9-2 record. Versus Cody Handon, 1-0. Again, similar situation here, and I like Argueta. Again, I'm going to go kind of back-to-back here. I think Argueta has a high energy, high motor. He's got that takedown game, going to look for submissions, and he's gonna make it dirty. Haddon is a striker. Again, he's going to have to really defend takedowns very well. Not only that, if he, not lose energy. And then, if he does get taken down, it's not a place I like him to be in making his UFC debut. I think Argueta is he's a freaking honey badger in there. And he's just explosive. He's not afraid to put it on the line. And when you're willing to risk it for the biscuit against somebody that might not have the experience in certain positions that you want to get him in, I think it's worth taking. I don't, if Cody catches him, does damage, finish him with a ground and pound, all well and good, right? Gets a nice reversal on a takedown. Maybe that's a possibility, but I think Dan's going to really control the ground game. I think he's going to exchange equally enough early on to get his advantage, and hopefully, he keeps him on the ground. Let's see what Haddon has in terms of getting up, in terms of the gas tank, in terms of guys that have been in there and want to go fast. They want to go hard. They want to go heavy. How are you going to be able to keep up with that pace? And maybe does it catch him? I don't know. I like Argueta here. I just think that experience really does favor him, and I like to see Haddon here. He's really going to have to catch him with hands. He's really going to have to win on the exchanges. He's going to have to defend the takedown very well. And if he does that, he's got a great chance to win, because I think he will win the exchanges. If Argueta can't take him down, if he can defend, it's always in the striker's advantage, right? But I think Argueta definitely has a chance to overwhelm Haddon at certain points and win favorable positions. Maybe not look the prettiest, maybe not look the most fan-friendly, but definitely enough to get the win. At least by my pick. Moving on to the big boys. Heavyweight division, Chris Barnett, 23-8 versus Junior Tafa, 5-3. Tafa, huge height advantage. Similar reach, a little bit all in the legs there, eh? Big favorite for Tafa against Barnett. I think Barnett is definitely a live dog here. I definitely think he has an opportunity to try and take down Tafa, really grapple with him. And I think Tafa's going to have some urgency. Coming off the Walter Walker loss, I really wish that fight got to go a little bit longer so we saw more about it. He did get taken down relatively easily, which I'm a little worried about, but he was holding his own in terms of the grappling exchanges when it ended, and it was like right at the end of the round. It was very iffy. I'll take the win. I had Walker in that fight, but I think Tafa is going to have an opportunity to put one on Barnett's chin and bring it to the ground. I think Barnett's looking to try and take it down, and I don't think that's really going to be an advantage against somebody like Tafa. I think you really have to want to strike with Tafa, hit the legs, work the body, and then, move in and out, which I think Barnett is very capable of. There is not a more bouncy heavyweight than we have in Chris Barnett. I mean, he was grappling Yoel Romero recently, so I think he has a lot of opportunity to win this fight and a lot of opportunity to get Tafa in a bad position, but I think we kind of see the a stoic Tafa when that comes in there, works the leg kicks, gets Barnett to the ground, and ends up ultimately with a finish here. That's my official pick. I want to pick Barnett. I'm a big fan favorite. Not even a fan favorite. I like his game. I like his style. I like his energy, and I think he presents a lot of problems to a lot of people in the heavyweight division. This thing is was a bad opportunity for him to kind of get back on the ropes. He hasn't fought since 2022. And I just think Tafa, you can't go 3 losses in a row in the heavyweight division, man. You're basically out of a contract there. So I don't want to see that happen. Kind of fighting for Tafa's life here. I think Barnett can always get back on the horse and go fight somebody else, right? But Tafa needs this one. Got Tafa getting the KO. Bang! Moving on to the welterweight division. We got Themba Gorimbo, 13-4 coming off a win versus Nico Price, 16-7 coming off a win. A little bit of 1-inch reach and height advantage for Gorimbo. Very similar metrics in the welterweight division as these guys get up there in the weight. And man, big favorite for Gorimbo, and I really like his style. I really like what he brings to the table against most fighters. But Pierce, I really feel like he's got an opportunity to catch another upset here. He was a big underdog against Morono, who's on the card later, who I like as well. And I think if you get in a striking battle with Pierce, and if you're not able to overwhelm him, I almost want to pick Pierce here. I'm going to tell you this. I had to re-record the video because I had some background sound, and I picked Gorimbo the first time. As I'm going through this, I kind of want to go back and pick Nico Price. I just really think that Gorimbo is not going to be able to handle what Price is going to bring, and he's really going to just kind of sit there. Now, can I see Price getting knocked out? Absolutely. Does Gorimbo bring that to the table? Not as much as you want to believe, and not as much as I want to you want to say I think a lot of times we want to see what happens in the fighters beforehand, but 2 KO wins, is he really going to go there? Is he really going to actually grapple with them? He looked okay in his last fight, but he didn't really fight a big opponent, somebody that's going to strike with him. I'm actually going on the reversal here in the re-record. I'm going with Price on the pick over Gorimbo. Now, I think Gorimbo definitely can win, but I think when it comes down to it, what we're going to see is Nico Price win the exchanges. He's going to end up doing some damage, and Gorimbo's not going to be the same. I think we're a high favorite, but without that ability to really, he's going to have, is he going to try and take down Nico Price? Is that really going to be the game plan? I don't think so. I think that's where he has his advantage too as well. So that being said, I really think I like Price here on the re-record, picking officially. He beat Morono, did damage in there. He's been on a terrible run, before that. But, he's not like he's fighting absolute scrubs. So I think he actually, he buffs up, beats this prospect of Gorimbo, as much as you want to call a prospect Gorimbo, right? So, as much as you want to call him that, as much as you want to say he's got to get there at 33 years old, I like Nico Price here. I'm actually going with him. Going with Price. Moving on. Book it in there to the featherweight division. You got Jonathan Pierce, 14-6 versus Pat Sabatini, 18-5. Big height advantage, a little bit of a reach advantage for Pierce versus Sabatini, another pure grappler kind of thing, and he's, really just going to grapple you. Pierce has to stand on the outside and win the exchanges, combo wombo, which I really think he does. I think he gets a nice win here. But, if Sabatini can swarm him, if Sabatini can get him to the ground, he's got an excellent chance to put on some submission moves. I think I can definitely see him jumping a ghillie if Price moves in at some point and gets a little reckless. If he's trying to do some damage against the cage, I can definitely see something like that happening. Sabatini's always got to be live. That's his game style. I mean, when the martial arts mix, you never really know what style is going to come out on any given Sunday. How is the cut? How are the guys been training? What are their opportunities? Is Sabatini going to get KO'd again? That's his loss. Piercy kind of gives him that opportunity that he struggles with, are 6-footers, right? He's lost this to Damon Jackson and Diego Lopes. Those guys, big guys for the featherweight division, and I think that kind of has a problem with him again today. I think he puts on a class effort, Sabatini, but I think Pierce is going to do just enough to get the win. think he's going to hold him off, tire Sabatini out, and then just be able to strike at a distance. But I mean, if Sabatini takes him down within the first 2 minutes and Pierce just sits there and lays down, I could see something like that happening. Sometimes these guys, they just don't got enough off their back to get up, and that's it. And I can definitely see something like that happening. I think he has, but I think what I think are some why I'm picking Pierce there too is his height is going to help him get up. It's going to help him post. It's going to help him crawl, kick the legs, and get Sabatini not to where he is. Probably get him over or under. But I mean, I can just also see Sabatini just coming in there with the vice grip and not letting go, and Pierce is going to have to do something, waste a lot of energy, and not be the same fighter. Very close fight card, man. I really enjoyed these. Are going to be some absolutely great scraps. A lot of talent on display, I think, on this fight card, and we're sleeping on it. Last week, absolutely bored, except for the main event. Shout out to Poetan for fighting through the sickness, giving us that amazing main event. But I think we're going to see some talent on there, some exciting fights, and we're going to see some finishes this week. I like Jonathan Pierce here. Maybe not here, but he's going to do something. It's going to be an exciting one. You're gonna either tell him to get up, or I think Sabatini's live for a finish here. It's a pretty even pick 'em. I think it's like minus 140 plus 120 for Sabatini. And I really think he's got a chance for a sub because that is his win condition, right? So I like that being said. We're going with Pierce here. I'm going to move on to the flyweight division. CJ Vergara, 12-5 versus Ramazan Tamirov, making his UFC debut versus Vergara, coming off a loss here. And I don't understand. So here's my thing. CJ Vergara beats the guys that are not as talented and loses to the top guys. Taira, Amabayev. Again, this time he's in with another Uzbek guy coming in there with heavy KO record. Tamirov, I think he's got 10 or 12 on his career. 10. Making a UFC debut. Is he going to come out there and absolutely starch Vergara? I think so. I don't really trust Vergara in the punching exchanges, right? I think if this guy comes in there and actually presents power in the flyweight division, we could see something special. I think Vergara's ripe to get his lights knocked out. I'm not saying he's not going to make it competitive and he's not going to try and take him down and really control the fight, but I think if Tamirov doesn't get taken down, can defend and absolutely throw some hands as his record is showing, I think he's going to have an absolute performance against Vergara, and we're going to be like, dang, dude, this guy's legit. We might have a contender in the flyweight division. I think this might be a situation that we see a lot of the prospects that have been coming up recently and the lighter weights have not been getting the finishes. So I think a finish in the flyweight is going to put you at the next level in terms of excitement. And I think that's what we might see here. I mean, like I said, and Vergara, like he's losing to Taira. He's losing to freaking the guys, Odi Osborne, Amabayev, not bad fighters. But that's my another thing. He's lacking a win against somebody that's supremely talented. And until he gets that, I'm not going to pick him, right? If Tamirov is really worthy of this minus 298 that the books have him at, I'm going to ride that. And if I get some tape and watch something and see Vergara, perform, then there we go. We take the loss. But that being said, like Vergara's got to put on the performance against a class opponent that I haven't seen him doing. And one thing that I think about, I think the UFC works like a bell curve, right? Like you have the light division and the heavyweights, right? And then there's like the most talented guys in the middle, right? Lightweight, bantamweight, welterweight. Like there's more of those guys because there's more people that weigh that side. So when a prospect breaks in, either at heavyweight, lightweight, something like that, or flyweight and heavyweight, like when they're prospects, I think they can ascend very fast, right? Look at Taira. You get a favorable matchup against a beatable veteran and you perform that night. I think he's ripe to put a name for himself, and we could be talking about this guy fighting somebody exciting next. Give him a ranked opponent. Like literally, if you look that good against Vergara, coming in there making your debut, get that guy a ranked opponent, go give him Alex Perez, right? Something like that, and let's go see what he's got. So I like Tamirov here. Let's see if we got a prospect in the making. Should be an exciting fight. Can't wait to watch these scraps. Like I said, I think there's a lot of talent on display this week, and we could be seeing some potential future just massive fights from some of these guys. I'm really hoping. I don't think we get it here, though. We got Chidi Jinquani versus Jared Gooden. Chidi 23-10 coming off a win versus Jared Gooden 23-9 coming off a win. Cancel bout against Kevin Jesuit, who Brian Battle starched him in. I actually had Gooden winning that fight before it was rescheduled to battle in France. I like Chitty here. I think the length, 3 inches on height, a big reach advantage. I think Gooden's going to have to come in there with the takedowns, work the energy, and really try and get the best of Chitty. And I just don't see that happening. I think I could see Chitty working the body, staying from the outside, working the leg kicks, working the hand kicks. I mean, Gooden's going to throw, but I think Gooden's going to throw once, and Chitty's going to hit him with the 1-2. Hit him with the 1-2. Gooden's going to work the counter on the outside. So he's going to he's going to have to spend a lot more energy than he wants to hit him, I believe. And that's why I got Chitty here, because I think he'll just probably put on a very class performance, do some damage, get him against the back, and just have those moments in the fight that are really going to win. Probably do a little bit more significant damage. Even if he gets taken down, he gets back up, he's going to do better in more of the time of the fight, right? Something that I wish the UFC would change is the way they do the rounds and the finishing, because like to have 3 different rounds, I think like if you were to have Chitty and Gooden fight for 1 15-minute round, I think you'll easily see like some of these fighters win the 1 15-minute round. Like they'll look better for more of the fight, and is that what it's supposed to be, or like are they supposed to look better for phases of the fight in certain moments, and that's going to give them rounds? So it's something that I definitely want the UFC to like. I wish they could think about changing the way the rounds work, because I think if we think about it as a 1 15-minute round contest versus 3 5s, the fight game it completely changes. And I think it's going to be who's going to look better for longer, and I think that's going to be Chitty. Now, can Gooden go in there, work moments, do damage, get takedowns, and threaten finishes? Absolutely. Is that going to be enough to win the round in the fight? I don't know. Who knows what the judges are thinking? 4 split decision losses. There were some questionable cards there. And they didn't even mention the Hubbard or Hernandez. Somebody had 30-27 for Hubbard. Like, I don't know what I'm watching anymore. I really don't. I don't know what we're judging. So I think I kind of would like a clean break there. So that being said, I'm picking Chitty here. He's going to win more of the fight longer, and I think that's what's going to get him the win. Moving on here to the middleweight division, we got Abdul Razak Al Hassan, 12-6, coming off a no contest versus Josh Fareed, coming off a loss. He might as well call it a no contest. My man laid on his back for 15 minutes against Petrovsky. I got Al Hassan here, dude. I think Fareed gets knocked out, dude. The lack of heart that I saw from Fareed in his last fight, I will never pick him again. I picked him in that fight against Petrovsky, and luckily I got another Petrovsky win off of that against his last boring-ass fight, but, I mean, Jesus, it looked like he had nothing left. I mean, wins over Dumas and Pickett in the Benner for Fareed. Razak Al Hassan, I think, is going to come in there and absolutely throw power, throw hands, and probably is going to finish the fight, hopefully within a minute. When you see something pretty crazy from this cat, he came in there with a no contest against Brundage, basically because he was going to finish him within a minute. He did get finished by Joe Pfeiffer, but I think that's one of those things. I think that was, well, Pfeiffer's a middleweight, but one of those things that Fareed could have a potential win is like the height advantage, but I think Razak Al Hassan is going to rock Josh Fareed and get him finished. And as long as he doesn't punch the guy in the back of the head, I think he definitely gets he's definitely live for a first round KO. Definitely something I'd be a little live to look at right there. Next, we're going to move on to... I'm not even talking that long on this. I don't like Fareed at all. He sold. He didn't even try to get up. Sat on his back for 15 minutes in a professional fight. And Razak Al Hassan, I think, can finish the fight within a minute. He has Deke Chirico finished. He's got freaking Brundage finished, in my opinion, within a minute. So I think he's got a lot of that going on. And we're going to move on to the welterweight division, because this is a fire matchup here, ladies and gentlemen. We got the welterweights, Taira, 17-5, coming off a loss, which I didn't really think he lost, versus Alex Morono, 24-10, coming off a loss, which, I mean, he definitely did lose. Nico Price turned it on in the second half, did a lot of damage. And I think that's what D-Rod's got to do here to Morono. He's got to do some damage. And is he going to? Morono's going to move on the feet. It's going to be a lot of energy for D-Rod to get in there. Morono's going to work the leg kicks, probably do some takedowns, definitely throw hands with D-Rod, and D-Rod's got to want to bring the energy, right? Like, Morono wants to fight for 15 minutes. This guy lives to train and trains to live, right? Like, I think he does all of that, and I think he's live for a submission finish here, absolutely, this week. I think D-Rod is definitely a little overrated in this spot, being a big favorite on the books. I think he comes off a tough loss against Kevin Gastelum. Again, losses to Gary and Neil Magny. He's not in the run of form. And do you want to fight Morono needing a win? Absolutely not. Absolutely not. You want to fight Morono when you're freaking ready, when you're locked in. So I like Morono here. I think he's live to get a sub. I think he's live to just strike, leg kick, bounce around. You'll see him move in and out. And I think you'll see a very class performance from Morono, who's always class when he enters the octagon. Very humble, very, very great competitor, an honor to always watch one of his fights. And he's always going to lay it on the line. Win, lose, or draw, my guy Morono is going to be in a fight. And I think he's going to get the better in this fight. I think it's an advantage for him. I think he's more well-rounded. I think his timing's better. I think his energy's better. I think his kicks are better. Now D-Rod can definitely hit him with the KO power, with the punchability, but it's almost like it's almost like Morono's gonna have to walk into that. Now he does have that tendency in his career to walk into KOs, right? Ponzinibbio winning 2 rounds, get KO'd, got hit hard by Pierce, finished in the first round, dominated by Buckley. So there is an opportunity for D-Rod to do that. I'm not picking it to happen though. I'm not putting my faith in D-Rod and that to happen. I got Morono here, cheeky sub, but definitely a class performance for Morono. We're gonna move on here to the women's strawweight, the only women's fight on the mat on the card here. We got Julia Polarski, 12-4 coming off a loss versus Corey McKenna, who I thought was Chandler initially. 8-3 coming off a loss here. I think Polarski is coming in coming in for Polyana Viana. I like McKenna here. I think the freaking girls from the islands throw some hands and aren't afraid to get it done. I think she'll throw a lot of volume. I think Polarski definitely has a chance. Everybody's got a chance to win, but I think McKenna's got a little bit more in the tank. I think she'll have a little bit more in terms of cutting edge damage. And with Polarski's last loss to Knudsen, it was a very close fight, but Knudsen definitely got there with the volume, with the energy, and that's something that I think McKenna can bring here as well. I think it's a similar matchup to Knudsen, and I think McKenna may even be a better pure boxer and a better pure striker. You're right. Knudsen might have more of the leg kicks and try and work the body a little bit better, but I think McKenna's going to have more of that pure boxing and damage, and I love that here. I love that in this division. You're going to sit in there and throw combos and throw hands and put it on the line and exchange it and throw more. I think McKenna's right here for a win. Right? I think Polarski definitely... what's she gonna bring to the table? You gonna get some takedowns? Because I don't see her out striking McKenna. That's really what it comes down to. After that last performance, I think she's gonna have to work and make McKenna make a mistake, and I just don't see that happening. I feel like again, some girls from Wales, Scotland, Sam Hughes, even JJ Aldridge, sometimes they look all right on their feet. They handle themselves against some of these chicks, and I like McKenna here to handle herself. Keep it short and sweet, baby. Lightweight division, next fight, Grant Dawson, 21-2-1 versus Rafa Garcia, 16-3. Height and reach advantage for Dawson here. Big favorite on the card, and Rafa Garcia's, what to really say there? He's definitely live for a submission game. He has not fought anybody to the caliber of Grant Dawson, but he's going to handle what Grant Dawson does very well, which is grapple. Now, will he be able to exchange on the feet? I don't know. I mean, I'm picking Grant Dawson here, right? The only Rafa Garcia's a loss against somebody that's comparable to Dawson is Drakkar Klose, and I love Klose, right? He's a pretty savage fighter at the end of the day in the lightweight division. I think Grant's very similar. Somebody that's willing to grapple, able to grapple, but wants to throw hands, wants to knock you out, wants to do damage. I like Dawson here all day. I think Dawson by domination is usually what happens here. Garcia, again, always live for that 8 sub wins in his career. Again, but just not the experience against the talent of somebody like Dawson, who, is he really going to put it on the line against somebody like this guy? Like, this is not even like a rescheduled fight. This is literally like who he agreed to fight. Very questionable for Dawson. But I think Dawson really just wants to pick up his confidence. Ranked number 20 in the world, just try and stay active. He beats Joe Solecki. I get Pat Sabatini and Joe Solecki confused all the time. But something like that. He's just willing to stack up some wins, get some more experience under his belt, get another fight in there. Not really taking a chance, but not really putting it on the line. You're just trying to get that confidence back after the KO loss to Bobby Green. I really think that affected Grant Dawson like that. So I think he's trying to really, again, stuff that I feel like fighters need to do is just work yourself back in there in favorable matchups. Go out there, kick some ass. Goes to the judges' scorecard, fine. But I like Grant Dawson here. I think he's going to put in a class effort. Class Dawson. Let's go, baby. I don't know what I said there. The co-main event, ladies and gentlemen, middleweight division. Brad Tavares, 20-10, coming off a loss versus Jung Young Park, 17-6, coming off a rescheduled fight. And I like Park to be clean with it here. Tavares definitely has that, finishability. He has that, he's got the ability to be finished as well. I think Park throws absolute haymakers. I think I liked him in his last fight before it got rescheduled. I believe the guy, it was this fight that got rescheduled, right? Okay, interesting. So, yeah, let's see it again. I'm picking Young Park here. I'm going to keep it short and sweet. Hopefully you watched the video months ago. No, but I think Tavares, he's going to have to win in the moments. He's going to have to use the length and try and counter punch and to beat Park, because I think Park's going to be very clean with it. He's going to do a lot of damage. And I don't think Tavares wins because he doesn't throw the kind of volume that you need to beat Park. You need to out-volume Park. When he throws 2, you need to throw 3. You know, I think that's how some of these strikers exchange, right? Like some of these guys will throw 1 and then they'll throw 1 too. But if you're not throwing 3 on top of the 2 sometimes, like, you got to keep them on their toes. You got to know not when they're throwing here. And I think Park is just going to walk him down. I think he's going to do a lot of damage, and I think he's looking good here for a nice win. I think he's not going to be afraid to take some punches from Tavares to do some damage, and he's going to be, I think you can see Tavares with his back against the cage quite a bit. Maybe shooting for some takedowns, some grappling. I think this one should be way more exciting than it probably will be. But I definitely think we can see a finish here. I like Jun Young Park here. I want to be on the Tavares train, right? Like, I want him to have, you know, a nice career, and I think this is one that he has to have. But again, he just no big wins against big guys. Like Weidman, nice win, but like besides that, I know you're fighting against these great guys, but you're not winning. Winning is important in fighting, right? Like, I know you're challenging yourself. I know you're growing, but I think Park can work the body. I think Park works the top, and I think Park can work a KO here. I got Park all day, baby. Last but not least, the main event of the evening. We got the flyweight division. Brandon Royval, 16-7, coming off a win versus Taira. Freaking ace prospect, undefeated, man. I probably think he should be fighting for the belt here. Signed, sealed, delivered. I got Taira all day. I think Royval's going to make it really close and really scrappy. Could definitely take the O from Taira, but I think Taira is actually one of the he's a dog in the flyweight division. I don't know why he wasn't fed the title fight right now, but I think Royval's a great stepping stone to get to the title fight, and I think we'll see him get a finish here. I think we'll see him get a sub. I think Royval is going to look good, but at some point he just puts it on the line and gets hurt. I think it's just gonna be too much. I think Taira's gonna have a good ability to throw him to the ground. I think he's got good strength, balance. I think the balance is something that you're gonna see. Like the way he threw down Perez and caused the injury, I think that's skill and talent as well. And I think Royval's got a heart of a champion. He's coming off a very well-fought victory over Brandon Moreno off of 8 months. Did time to recover. But, man, I mean, I love how he's putting it on the line here, Royval. I just don't think it might not just be enough here. I think we all kind of saw Moreno not have it in that fight. You know, it wasn't a title fight. My guy fought Figgy 4 straight times. You know, he's just hard to get up for like a co-main event on a fight night. Even if you're I don't know, maybe they were the main event. Whatever. Royval, I like here a lot. I think they were the main event. But Taira, I think he's the class. I think he's going to be fighting for a title early next year against Pantoja, Kai Kara France winner. And, you know, maybe Pantoja gets a rematch if he loses, but I can also see Taira getting the next title fight after that. Taira here. Quick recap, a little bit shorter on the re-record here. I got Clayton Carpenter. Oops. Clayton Carpenter. Ah! They're moving us now. Right. Dan Argueta, Junior Tafa, Nico Price, Jonathan Pierce, Temirov, Chidi Jinkunu, Razak Halassan, Alex Morono, Corey McKenna, Grant Dawson, Jung Young Park, and Tatsuro Taira. Like, comment, subscribe if you enjoy the videos. Leave a comment with all your predictions. If you get it right 100%, I'll give you $100. Thanks for everybody for tuning in. Peace and love.